Okay, folks, after we've wrapped up Chapter 2 here, I thought I'd take an opportunity to just do a couple quick videos to hit some of the high points of what we were working on in Chapter 2. The first one I'd like to focus on is what we now know as a PPF, or Production Possibilities Frontier, right? And what the PPF allows us to begin to consider is the dilemma that companies face when it comes time to think about what products they should focus on producing, when in fact they are limited in terms of the resources available. So if we think about this, we can consider the firm to have the opportunity to produce two goods, and only two goods. And while this is obviously not realistic in a general sense, it does give us the opportunity to begin to think about what firms can or cannot do in production. And so let's assume that our company has the opportunity to produce either cars or trucks. Now, we recognize that all participants in the market have to contend with scarcity, which revolves around the idea of unlimited wants, but limited resources. So even though our company might want to produce as many cars as possible or as many trucks as possible, assuming they had no limit on their resources, the practical matter is that they are limited by resources. And so if we consider that our company, our notional company, takes all their money and produces nothing but cars, they would be up on this part of the x-axis, the y-axis. And if we assume they take all their money and produce no cars but all trucks, they would be at that point on the x-axis. And so this defines for us a line. This line has a y-intercept of all cars, no trucks, and an x-intercept of all trucks, no cars. And it provides us a measure of the total amount of product that could be undertaken given limited resources. And so in this case, our company would be able to produce either no trucks and 60 cars, or no cars and 100 trucks. Okay? And that suggests that given their resources, they could produce that combination, 0 and 60 or 0 and 100. 0 cars, 100 trucks, 0 trucks, 160 cars. They also, as we know, can produce any combination of products defined by this line. And so these points that lie on the production possibility frontier are all attainable by our firm, and in fact use all their resources. And so we can think of all these points as attainable and efficient. Efficient in the sense that they use all available resources. But we also, can think about the firm making a choice to produce, producing 50 cars and 10 trucks. That would put us here. Or perhaps they'd like to produce 80 trucks and 8 cars. Now clearly, they can do this. The problem with this is they could do more, because at this point the firm would have the opportunity to invest more resources to make a few more cars to get to that production possibility frontier. In this case, they may choose to produce a few more trucks and the same amount of cars. The point of the discussion here is that in this region, These points are clearly attainable. We have sufficient resources to attain those points. But we could do more, and therefore we are inefficient in our use of resources. And we know from our fundamental assumption of being motivated by economic incentives, we're incented to produce as much as possible, and therefore those points in blue would be considered inefficient. And then finally, the other realm that we're concerned with is this idea of unattainable production. It would be great to produce 60 cars and 60 trucks. But that point, 60 and 60, is not attainable given our resources. And so we see that points such as these two, while they may be desirable, they are unattainable. We just can't reach it. So as much as we may be motivated to do so, practically speaking, given this limitation imposed on us, the assumption of scarcity, that we do not have sufficient resources to do everything we want, the firm is going to be limited to going no further than their production possibility frontier, and they're going to be incentivized at all times because of being motivated by economic incentives to move to that production possibility frontier.